Welcome all to 5 Minutes with Kerusso. I'm Whitney, and as of right now, I'm planning on posting this video on Christmas, so I'm with my tree. I have my Fa La 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 Llama sweater that I love. And in light of this holiday season, I would love today to talk about Jesus being born into this world and becoming human. So I'm going to start by reading from John chapter 1, verse 14, where it says, "The Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son who came from the Father, full of grace and truth." And that's kind of the cornerstone of our faith right there. Everything we believe hinges on the fact that Jesus became human. He had a life that he could sacrifice and a body that could die for our sins to save us. And one thing I've noticed that's interesting is we really only get a really in-depth description of Jesus's bodily experience from the account of his death. A lot of really in-depth description of all the barbaric and torturous things that he suffered and endured before he died. And we don't get as much of that for when he's not suffering and dying, like throughout the rest of his life or his childhood or his birth. The Nativity story actually does not tell us that much about anyone's physical experience, despite the fact that it's about childbirth. And I know a lot of you out there are probably like, no, please don't give me gory details about a childbirth. Trust me, I'm right there with you. But especially around this time of year, when we all want to reflect on how Jesus took on a physical form and joined us on this earth and was born, I wonder if we don't do ourselves a disservice by not considering and reflecting upon how Jesus was not just born, he was birthed. Mary had probably swollen ankles while she had to trudge across the desert to get to Bethlehem. She had to deal with a baby kicking in her belly while she was trying to get sleep. And we definitely don't hear or see in any nativity story account or movie or mainstream depiction. I've heard a lot of people complain about those things. That's not at all a realistic depiction of what childbirth looks like. We don't see that. We don't see the several hours that Mary probably spent in agonizing pain pushing her baby out of her body. We don't see that. And I wonder if we're missing out. Because years, especially like this year, when a lot of us are struggling and a lot of us are feeling a lot of pain and heartache, a lot of us are looking for ways to relate to Jesus. And it's hard. It's really hard to relate to a man who lived 2,000 years ago in a different country and in a different culture. And we try, though. We try to find ways to relate to him by saying he was human. He had the same experiences that we did. He was hungry. He was cold. But we never really consider that for his childhood and his birth. A lot of times it's just for when he was an adult or when he died. But we never hear the stories of how Jesus, as a kid, fell and scraped his knee and had a boo-boo that needed to be kissed. Or as a teenager, how he dealt probably with out-of-whack boy hormones. And that's just the human experience. And we don't hear about that. So I wonder if this year, instead of just reflecting on how Jesus was born, I wonder if we can reflect on how Jesus was birthed, about the whole messy, gory, nasty process of what it means to be a human, because that's realistic. That's real. That's a true experience. And the true glory of God incarnate is that he lived that messy human life that we all know firsthand. He had that. He had boo-boos that needed to be kissed. He had to deal with weird boy hormones as a teenager. He had to deal with pain and loss and hurt and warmth and comfort and pleasure and all of those feelings, all of those physical sensations. He had everything, every part of the human experience he had. So I encourage you this holiday season to reflect on that and think about how Jesus took on flesh, all the muscle, all the bone, all the nerve, so that not just so he could die, but so that he could understand, and so that we could understand him and relate to him a little bit better. I hope that this holiday season for you, whoever you're with and wherever you are, I hope that you can find a little bit of light and love and comfort and warmth. And I pray that you stay safe and stay healthy and be blessed.